Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back. It's a Soldier of Light, and I'm reporting for duty. And welcome to our roundtable. It's our familiar faces that you can see, Mr. J. Rocco, Mr. King of Cups, Mr. Dennis, as well as our new weekly guest this week is Miss Gypsy Mama. So welcome you guys to the show. I thank you for coming.
Welcome, Gypsy.
Thanks for
So-
having us.
So actually, I just wanted to talk. I mean, this show, as we kind of mentioned, is about just the ascension process. And each one of us, as we've talked before, has had their own journeys, their own experiences, and things. And what I want to do is I want this to kind of get out to the people. I almost feel like it's our job, as there's a certain amount of us that it's our job to teach. It's our job to expand, help others expand. We expand by helping others expand. And I feel like that's part of our mission here, is to do that, is to help not only ourselves ascend, but help others and make them confident in this. And I can only speak for myself, is there are some things throughout the years I didn't have anyone to lean on when I had some issues or some of these spiritual things that are happening to me. And it was a big thing that was not only was, I would say, not scary, but it set me back a little bit as a very thinking type of person. And when it came down to it, I mean, it didn't make sense to me. And I always had these issues come up throughout my years. I mean, I saw ghosts and things when I was, yeah, exactly. You see the energies change when we get together, like the energies go crazy. So it's pretty awesome. So it's amazing. So, but yeah, I mean, what I was saying is I had all these experiences as a kid. I mean, I've seen ghosts, and my family's seen ghosts. My mom's very intuitive, and our family's been very intuitive. We've had a lot of similar experiences, believe it or not, as I found out later in life. And these are things like we never talked about things, but after the fact that we find out in bits and pieces, I put them together to saying that how connected these experiences I feel are. And I feel like a lot of us have probably had those, what the heck was that type of moment. That's the reason why we're looked at outside of the norm. We're different, or we're looked at as different. And I don't believe that. I feel like we are, those things that we've seen and experienced is for a reason. I feel like because we have that belief system. No matter what you do, what you believe, you have a belief system. I feel something, there's a higher power, no matter what it is, what you call it, there's a higher power. And I feel like that was the moments that's like, you know what, maybe there is something a little bit more to this. And I know for a fact, for me, I've had some moments where, like, when I've seen demons, like literally in person, manifest in front of me. And I was the fight or flight. I didn't know what to do, and it was a different scenario than what I am now, because I'm spiritually in a better place, and I wasn't, not as afraid, because I've never been afraid, but I felt I didn't have as much power as I do now, and I know these things, and that's what we're part of, the divine light and the creation from God or source, whatever you want to call it. And that's the thing that I want people to realize, is that we're so powerful. That's the reason why the light and the dark constantly fight over us, is because we're so powerful. And I want people to realize that these things that you're going through, or you might have gone through even as a child or up to this point, it's normal. It's more normal than, and you're not alone. And I think the more we talk about these things, the more, even if they sound almost repetitive at times, it becomes familiar. It doesn't become as scary for people. And I know, just talking to some of these amazing souls that I've done readings for and energy healings for, a lot of you beautiful souls that I'm meeting here, like our roundtables, and the beautiful souls that tune in every week. It's amazing just to get to know so many of these people, and the coming together and just finding out how similar we really are in a lot of ways. It's pretty amazing, actually. And it's, like I mentioned, it's incalculable. So I just want to kind of rotate. I'll rotate to you next, Jay. And I just kind of want to know exactly what you're thinking at this point, no matter what it is. Just kind of what you want to just add to the group.
No, I really do think it's important. I mean, I'm thankful for guys, for people like you that have a channel. Gypsy's obviously growing a channel also. It's not my path. I mean, I'm here to give my experience. But yeah, I think it's everyone's experience is slightly different. And as we mentioned before, their own reality themselves. Very similar experiences for a lot of people. but in our own different way. And it depends on how we describe it and how we translate. But I think, as you mentioned, to keep talking about it, all the different experiences, and just to let people that they're not alone. And we're all walking through this process. Sure, we're at different levels, but that doesn't matter. We're walking this thing together. Our ascension is individual, and that's all I wanted to add. That's it.
Amazing. How about you, Dennis? What do you want to add anything to that, or what are your kind of thoughts?
I agree. I do agree with Joe there, and everyone is unique in their own way. There's no one person that exactly like as another, and we all have our own unique paths. Some of us learn a little bit earlier in life, and some of us a little bit later. It all depends. As long as we're all on the same path, we learn from each other. And sorry, I didn't mean to sneeze like that.
Bless you.
That's my dog.
I know.
I was like, wow, that's amazing. I didn't even see him move.
I'm a ventriloquist also.
Right?
Going through school, nothing ever resonated with me. I was a C student, barely a C student, really. And I always questioned history. So I figured nothing that didn't resonate probably wasn't true. And so I went through life thinking this way. And back in the 90s, it was, or actually 1990, I think it was, is all of a sudden I got this energy of what unconditional love was, just spread throughout. And I was walking down the street when that happened. It's like being on cloud 9 for about a mile, So other than that, just going through life and with nobody else to resonate with, it wasn't until about 2011, like I said earlier, that I started meeting people that were pretty much on the same wavelength that I was, and still going through learning new things. That's what I got.
Amazing.
And
how about you, Gypsy Mama?
Sneeze.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you want to add to this?
Well, I really resonate with what Dennis said there in regards to like school. I never resonated with it. I too barely got through school, other than the classes that were I loved home ec and auto and woodworking, where I was actually doing something, learning things. And then Jason, what you talked about. So my oldest daughter, she used to see spirits, and she actually used to have a friend that she played with, and it was a spirit that one of my friends actually, who also could see spirits, saw one time and confirmed it, and was exactly how she said was how it was. And there was another incident where she saw a spirit, and it was just it was really amazing to be able to experience that through her eyes. And then my other daughter, she could speak when she was younger, but she just kind of chose not to until she was about 3.5. But she spoke telepathy, and back then I didn't really get it, because I wasn't awake to all this yet. But it was I just knew that she was communicating with me and other people. So she has these beautiful big brown eyes, and she would just stare at you, right? And people would be like, why is she not talking? And I'm like, oh, she's telling you what, she's communicating. She's just doing it in a different way. So it's my heart is really with kids, and how do we help the kids along this ascension path, and with their gifts and abilities, because it's, so many of us, as well as other kids, it's been stifled, right? And it's been, depending what kind of, if you've grown up religion, right? A lot of those things are nope, you don't do that. You don't talk about that. That's evil. Even when I was, when I was a born again Christian, I used to call myself a bohemian Christian, because I didn't fit into their little box. And there was things that they were I've always been into crystals, and I was told that like crystals and tarot and oracle cards and yoga was evil and energy work. And I wasn't even doing energy work at that time, but there was something that like really resonated with me, and I was like, well, where does energy come from? Like, it comes from source. Like, so yeah.
That's amazing, and I agree. We actually have had this brief conversation before in these previous roundtables or other shows that I've had or talked with people about. Is I agree. I mean, I was the same way. School for me, I mean, I was always good with math. Like it came super easy to me for some reason, but I wasn't like I didn't really make any effort to learn it. Let's put it that way. History, I could not, like, that was like nails on a chalkboard to me every time. I'm like, and I used to always say it when I was thinking, and people would always give me the same repetitive answer. I'm like, why are we learning this? This is stupid. This doesn't make sense to me. Why are we learning something that happened 300 years ago? And I understand the process of learning from the past, but are we? Because we're learning from that past. And that's the thing. That's what it just didn't resonate with me. And I couldn't stand the fact, like in college, even when I was doing a little bit of college, I didn't finish. So another thing, but I've been very successful. But when I was in college, same thing. I would take like you give me class choices, and I'm like, you have to take this or this and this for your degree, right? Because you have to indoctrinate you. So, and it was different histories. I'm like, I waited till like the last time I ever had to take that class, those classes, because I just could not stand them. And it was the same way. I mean, but I love going to school to socialize and play sports, and like she was mentioning, I mean, I was in wood shop as well. I mean, things that were cool, like even band, I played the drums, and I can't read a lick of music, but as soon as I picked up drumsticks, I could hear it and I can play it. That's just always been, I've been very blessed that way. And I think the musical part is in our family, because even my nephew is a rock star and he's self-taught. He's God-given, like his voice is God-given. He writes lyrics, all the parts to the songs. He writes albums. I mean, it's amazing. Something that I could never do or even think about doing. Like, it just comes so naturally to him. I mean, literally just can pick it up. And like, it's amazing the gifts that each one of us has or we remember. And it's just an amazing thing to start picking up on these gifts now. And so that's amazing that as we're going through this journey, and I always want people to realize is you don't have to be afraid, honestly. You may see some scary things, or you may have seen some scary things. Those scary things, you're able to move them away from you, because that's the power you have. And that's the reason why that they try to hang around and creep up on you, is when you're at your lowest point, or there's a lot of fears, or you're sick, or your illnesses are really lowering your vibration. Then that's the point where they like to come out and hang out, because that's where they like to hang out. And, and what we try to do is, even if you're down or low, you always have the power to raise yourself back up by just a positive thought. A positive thought. Even when you were talking, Gypsy, a minute ago, you were pulling a Dennis. When you started smiling and you were talking about your daughter and your children, the joy came out from your heart, and the light came out. No, the light changed. It brightened. So that's something that happened a few times. So that tells me exactly what Joe and I have talked about on the show, is find something that brings, when I even do my energy healings, I tell people the same thing they do meditative. And I've kind of stole a little bit from Joe, is find that happy place, because that's what he got from spirit. Find that happy thought or happy memory that brings you joy, and use that as part of your beginning of your or your doing your type of whatever you might be,
prayer, meditation, whatever.
Meditation, exactly, whatever you want to call it. Just kind of centering yourself again, but come from a place from your heart, and then that raises your vibration automatically, because you're in a joyful place. So you attract that joy to you. So I wanted to share that a little bit with you, and I think that's an amazing thing. And I saw that from you, Jay. So I'm gonna pass it over to you, and I want you to kind of speak a little bit more on that, if you would.
Sorry I didn't mention school. Actually, school was fairly easy for me, because all that you were doing was remembering and regurgitating. I was good at it. You really didn't learn much. You learned stuff to spit back out. That was it. And I'm a survivor of 2 Catholic schools. Yes, went to 2. And also some college. But wasn't for me. I couldn't tolerate it. I just couldn't tolerate it. But going back to what you had just said, everything it's kind of been kind of up in my game, if you will. It seems to be that energies, I'm very intolerant of low level vibrations, and I don't mean that as a negative. It's just my body's not resonating with it. I mean, I know I'm kind of starting to take another step, just full of energy and controlling it the whole bit, but the vibration, and you're trying to center it, and it's no different. As soon as you get that spiritual awakening, that energy surges. It's another surge right now is what I'm trying to say. It's just, it's coming, it's powerful, it's exciting. And with people like yourself, especially you, Dennis, Jason, you actually come into people's energy a lot just through a healing. When you step into that energy, people want part of your energy. Same with anyone that has a channel. They want to be with you. They want to talk with you. They want to interact with you. And they take a little bit of your energy unwillingly. And we give it up unwillingly. I mean, willingly. It's a balance. It's an exchange. But when you're reaching a number of people like that, it can have some symptoms to you also. I just kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit. I've had so many experiences throughout all this, and as Jason mentioned, he had no one to lean on. I leaned on Jason heavy, and I didn't even know him. I was blessed that he was there. Lakeside Laura, a couple of the other moderators that we all know and love, obviously. But yeah, I had an unknowing support system. You just can't call up your buddy and go, hey, there's shadow people. I'm just saying, let's talk. It doesn't go over well. We doesn't have that infrastructure to talk with. I'll leave that there.
real quick. Speaking of shadow people, I was going to tell you, you have a spirit that's hanging out by your left shoulder. Twice I've seen him, and it's a male, and it's not a dark one, but he just popped around again for me to see right now.
Standing bear.
It might be actually because
you're right. It's there.
It's a male. I feel it's a male. It's right on your left shoulder. He pops into the scene for me. Yeah, see perfect outline of him, and then he pops back out.
He's not tall.
No, he's not. He's just a little bit taller than what your head is now.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep. So
he's welcome over here if he wants to come.
High five.
And actually, you know what? When you just did that, he did touch you.
Did he really?
I swear to you.
I didn't feel it, unfortunately.
I swear to you. I watched that interaction. Wow. That's the first time I've seen Spirit interact with a human.
I don't know why I did that. I just was like, high five.
Man. That was amazing, dude. Thank you for that.
I'm surprised he knows what a high five is.
He did. Because we were like this. I saw the movement. He did that twice.
We might have to go back and watch the video, see if there's a reflection in the refrigerator.
Dude.
I might have to check that out later.
I'm telling you, man. Right. It's there.
Dennis, let's hear it. You're up, buddy.
Hear what?
I don't know. I just kind of left it where I was there.
Just from the place of, like we mentioned about, when we start into this, like if you do, just quieting your mind or even anything like that, coming from a place from your heart, and that's a good place to start. So that's kind of where we're kind of leading into the conversations. I just want to see what your thoughts are on that as well.
Coming at peace with yourself, being able to quiet things down and move things out of your brain, and just be calm. Don't think. And before you do your meditation or whatever it is that you do, I think there's more clarity that way. I think also when you mentioned crystals, I think everything has a purpose. I know there were years where I thought people were crazy if they were buying crystals and expecting something to happen, but once you get to understand that everything has a purpose, then you begin to understand that, yeah, maybe they... I guess another part of that would be how to know more about each crystal that there is and how to access them, School, back in school, it reminds me of I was probably ADHD before anybody else even knew what that was. I was the daydreamer. I was always the one in the back of the class looking out the window. Oh, well, thank you.
Just tap me.
Draining energy, yeah. There were many a time where people would always come to me for counseling or whatnot, for their problems and stuff like that. And I would freely give my advice, but after a while, it gets really draining. And it would take me about 2 or 3 days to get away from that. So about all I have right now.
Totally feel you. How about you, Josie Mama?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Jay was saying about, well, both of you guys were talking about how your energy can be drained without even knowing it, right? And even when the days that I go to work, I have a lot of people that come in just when I work, and we just talk about things. But the days that I'm at work, it's like I come home and I don't want to do anything else after. I have to just I have to center myself, and I just have to kind of clear all that energy and find my energy again. I really I work a lot with my angel guides and my archangels, so I really put up a lot of protection around me. And there was 2 times that I didn't before I went on videos, and both those times were just either the video was horrific, or I was just afterwards I just felt completely drained. And I was like, what was going on? And then I was like, oh, I didn't put up any protection. I didn't, and it's so important to be intentional like that. And even just knowing where your energy is at. Like the other day when I was having a little bit of a rougher day, and we were going, my kids had acupuncture appointments. So before I went in, I was like, okay, I just need to say a little cleansing prayer, because I don't want to take this energy into my friend's office here. And just knowing that aspect of it is really important. And especially when you're working, with internet, and, you're working with technology and AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're using it for our good, but we're still a part of it. So there is that big aspect of doing that and teaching my kids. That's a big thing. I'm so blessed to be able to have my kids at home and to unschool them and to be teaching all these things to them. But one thing that I they have taken their Reiki. So before they're able to go on electronics, they have to meditate and they have to do Reiki before they go on, just to kind of get in the process of protecting themselves. And that's something that I've learned. So I'm trying to pass that on to them now, because it's oh, I see how I'm very strict with the amount of time they can go on electronics. So we don't even own a TV. So
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that,
No,
and
that's true.
so, I mean, I that's awesome that your kids are teaching them a practice, and that's amazing that they can raise their vibrational level. That's awesome. So, I mean, that's something for me, I'm I didn't even as throughout the years, and I felt throughout the years I've had to raise my vibration, but I've been around some really not good environments. In any of the environments I can look back and say, not saying my home life was a total disaster, but it was pretty close, and throughout the time, I mean, I went from one environment into the military, and there's a lot of, craziness in the military, and, and things that I've been around, and just always in those environments that weren't good. And I feel like I've always been I've tried to be in a better headspace maybe than I used to. Like the old saying, people say, fake it till you make it. And sometimes I would do that, which had to portray something that I really wasn't. And inside I was dying almost. And I felt like that was the case. And I felt like there's a lot of times that I haven't been myself. And, when it comes down to things, and I finally gave that up. I finally just said, I don't care anymore. This isn't my thing to jump online and all this stuff and put my name out there. I mean, people that came to me know me, and I have a very small group of people that I associate with, and there's a reason for that. at the time. And now that my group is expanding, I have to expand as well. And that's the reason why I want to put this stuff out. And I was pushed by Spirit to get out and do this.
Mhm.
So, and you know, these types of things, I feel like my vibrational level was maybe higher than others, but I feel like I was vibrating at a pretty low vibrational level for a long time.
Mhm.
I was always violent thoughts, just from my own personal, as a veteran with PTSD, and plus being raised in a violent household. Violence is always the way that we anger, lash out, do these things. And that's all I knew as a young man, was to lash out. And all I did, now that I look back on it, I feel bad because of some of the people that I've hurt physically, some of the people I've hurt verbally, mentally. I mean, the whole thing. I mean, and honestly, all it did was just kill me at the end, you know, because then not only that, I mean, I affected people's lives permanently.
Mhm.
And that's something that I didn't appreciate that at the time. And like I said, it took a huge event for me, like the tower moment, as we say in tarot. The tower moment for me was losing my mom. My mom was the glue. My mom was the rock, the only person in our life that was ever staying around and was the only one there. And when she left, she told me, "It's you. It's on you now. I'm giving you the reins for your brothers and all." I'm like, okay, so she did that, and then I started working on. I started hearing. I heard her. I haven't heard her since, but I heard her in the beginning, and I can hear her voice without hearing her audibly, if that makes any sense. Like I can hear her tell me, and she told me, let these things go. You know, I had some disputes with family members and bad things that happened that I had to let go. She said, let go. It's not your journey. And she told me that. And for me, in my pride, I'm a very prideful man. And the whole alpha male, that was me, like very vibrato. And I'm not that like that anymore, because I can be that way without saying much and just being who I am. But I've always been raised that way. Be competitive, be the best, you know, those types of things. And I've always been my worst critic, and I've got on myself for things that I wish I hadn't now, because I felt like I wasn't what I just started doing for my ascension. And this is things I've been repeating, and this is just something I want to share with the group. I tell myself I am worthy. That's all. And honestly, you want to hear something? I almost got like right where my solar plexus is when I said I am. The first time I actually said that out into my head, or I out loud almost, I said I am worthy. And that was recently, within last week, because I'm constantly working on myself. I felt like almost like a sickness was like pulled away from me, like
It was
right
a relief.
away.
It was a relief.
It was a relief, and I felt different. I don't know what it is. So now I just tell myself all the time, I am worthy. I am worthy, because these things that are coming to me I am so blessed. And I tell my wife this all the time. I'm very thankful for everything I have. I mean, things are just coming to me so beautifully, and I'm very thankful for those things. And I want people to realize, as these things come to you, you're worthy of these things. That's what I want people to realize. We're all worthy of these gifts. As you mentioned, we're in different journeys of our own. We ascend on our own. But with these things, this journey we're on, we blaze a path individually that somebody may cross our path. That those footprints we put in the sand, or whatever you want to call it, they may follow our footprints for a few steps and then jump back out on their own. So we're blazing paths not only for ourselves but for others. And I want people to realize you are enough. That's what this type of show is. I mean, we talk so much during all these tarot shows and all these truther people putting all these things on. A lot of the things we're talking about is static fear, the what ifs. This isn't happening. This hasn't happened. This isn't going on. Well, what if I don't ascend? What if they're ascending? What if you're in 5D and I'm in 4D? Those things, that's all division stuff. And God, we were created by the same creator. No matter
I
what you're
want to jump off what you said right there about that. Go. No, when you're ready. I want to jump off of that energy.
We're all created by the same creator, no matter what you want to call it. And we are a part of the highest light vibrational existence ever. We are a part of that. Every one of us, we have that same power inside of us. And it is pretty amazing. So I want people to know is you are enough. You're a superhero. And that's just a superhero of kindness. Just like I've told you in the roundtables, I mentioned, I'm guessing it's probably the same thing what Gypsy Mama just mentioned. Some people just tell her, wait for her to work for specific days that
Mhm.
she works. They'll come in and talk because her energy is pulling that. And that's something I feel we all have this gift. I feel like I've got that. People just they've told me, you should have been a teacher. You should have been a counselor. Those are types of things because people just open up and start telling me their problems in their life. And I don't even know this person, but their energy feels comfortable enough for me to say, hey.
Mhm.
And I want to know if that's kind of been what's happened to you. And I'm going to go to you, Jay, if you want to start off on that you had that pop-up moment. And then also about if you've had the people just randomly come up to you ever since you were younger, like they have.
Oh, yeah.
Me.
Oh, yeah. My wife calls me a kook magnet. And respectfully, I engage, but I mean, people just come up to me randomly, and it usually is the person that is off. They just want to talk. That's all. I attract it. I really do. Speaking of attraction and these energies you were talking about, what I wanted to jump off of is language, in a sense. And Dennis has mentioned this. Dennis always, he's putting jokes out in the chat. A lot of times he's raising that vibration. That's beautiful. I think it's awesome. But one of the things that I'm noticing more and more is grand rising. I understand why they're doing it. I understand the language behind it. Instead of good morning, as in morning of death. But, when our words come from a place of intent and purity, those words aren't spells, okay? If you're saying grand rising because you're afraid of using the language, that's not the right intent. I mean, it's okay to say grand rising and everything like that. But if you say good morning, it's no different because it's coming from you. I just want people to realize that, because Jason had mentioned about, well, what if I'm not ascending? I'm not experiencing any of these things. You may not know. I mean, I didn't understand it myself. I still don't. I still call up my support system and go, you're not going to believe this, or wait till I tell you this one, or hey, help me out. I've reached to Dennis, Gypsy, everyone here. I have called and said, I want your advice. Why? Because we've experienced similar things and we have a connection. We really do. There's a vibration, and I know who to go with certain things and certain questions. But again, don't fear so much this use of language. If you're okay, if you're just talking, you're exchanging energy, you can't cast a spell with good intent. So I just want to mention that about, I see it more and more in the chats, and don't say it because other people are saying it. If that's your intent to say, oh, I want to leave that word behind, go ahead. But just remember, they control us with the use of language. Use whatever your language is, please. Don't be forced into, oh, well, grand rising, I want to be like everyone else. Please be yourself. Be your genuine self. Be honest with yourself. I mean, that wasn't me when that came. I mean, I got the, hey, give it to him. Again, this energy, this language, we're all at different levels. But don't, just because you're not experiencing the same circumstance as someone else, that means nothing. Don't copy language. Don't, oh, I think I have to say that in this chat. I think I'm down to 3 now. 3 people that I follow. I pop in for 10 minutes and go, hey, everybody, how you doing? Gone. I try and see people in the chat more than the content half the time. But I noticed that a lot more, this intention of purposely using certain words. Is it conformity to the group? I don't know. I just want people to be themselves. Be you. Use the language.
People don't understand that they're unique. Each person's unique. Each person has its own unique path. You don't, the words that come out of your mouth are what defile you and define you. It's not what you take in, it's what you take out or emit out. But the words itself, what you're emitting is intent. As long as you intend it to do a certain thing, then that's what it's going to be.
Right. 100%
I
right. Thank you.
agree. Yeah, I do say grand rising, but it's because I like it. Like I love what it means. But I will admit, at first, I remember I had watched something a little while ago that was talking about words being spells and all that, and they talked about good morning. And at first, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't say good morning anymore. And then it was like, what? No, I'm like, again, just like you said, like my intent is not anything wrong.
Right. It's not
Like
to harm.
if I'm saying good morning, it's because I want somebody to have a good morning, or I'm saying hi. And that's just another level of fear, right? You're still, if you're stuck in fear, that you're giving them your power, right? And like Jay said, or Jason, I don't know if I can call you Jay. I don't know if you like that. So when
Don't matter.
some people like to have their name
I've been
short.
called way worse.
Well, I meant, yeah, Jason, sorry. When you were talking about I am worthy, like I am statements, when I started really integrating that into my life on a daily basis, I've got them up all over my house. My list is like longer and longer every day, but it changed my life. Like it really did change my life to be calling in those things and to really feeling them. And yeah, like Dennis, like you were saying, you're giving it the wrong energy if you're fearing something. You know, like if you're coming at something with pure love, that's what it's doing. That's where it's coming from. I always like to try to remind people that like darkness can't create anything. The light creator source is the only thing that creates. They steal those things and they use those things, especially things of power, and they manipulate them. But that doesn't mean we can't take them back, right? Like look at things like the number 13. The number 13 is actually the divine feminine number. But so many people know it as like this superstitious thing that all these bad things are going to happen at that day. And it's like, only if you give in to that fear.
That and black cats.
Black cats. I've got a black cat. Like, you know, they're crazy, but but yeah, like it's all where your intention is.
I agree with that. And it comes down to everything with manifestation is based on intent. And even though honestly, to be honest with you, we voluntarily have fallen into this that we've done. Even though we may say we didn't know anything about these things and all this, and it's true to a point, but we've also lost sight of things because every generation has been taught the same thing and the same thing and the same thing and the same thing and the same thing, and we've lost track of the ancients, actually, like you mentioned before, going out and learning about plants and learning how to grow things and learning about medicines and how to heal yourself and how to connect back with divine. Those are things that, that these were taught throughout the generations from family member to family member to family member. And that stuff has been lost because the family unit's been broken up purposely. And the purpose of that was to segregate us and to separate us. And it's easier for us to kind of have these things happen to us because of that. But I mean, the darkness can't work unless we are voluntarily allowing them to work. And they intend to put these things. So what they do, that's why the darkness, how they work is they put it out in front of you at first, and they let you know in advance, this is what we're going to do. And you voluntarily continue to do that and go through with it. That's why it takes place and has the power that it does, because our energies are connecting with that intention and that spirit and that spell or whatever you want to call it. That's the reason why that these things hold the weight that they do. But like you said, we can break that. These are things that you have the power as a divine being of the light. You cannot. I don't acknowledge that anymore. Like for me, I even send these affirmations to myself, and when I sit down with my eyes closed, these are things that I've been telling myself for months and months and months. I say I am no longer, and my family are no longer affected by the old timeline of the earth. I say that specific thing. And then I say after that, I'm like, I am and my family are only affected by the new beautiful timeline of the earth, abundance and health for all. those are things that I manifest for everybody. And I actually, when I do my manifest, or when I'm sitting there and I'm doing my meditations and things, I always say purposely, I am increasing the vibration and energy of the and light around of the earth around me. I send that out to everybody, and I do that every day, at least to make it a point. And right now, I'm getting goosebumps. That tells me that Spirit's telling me that they acknowledge it, and they're telling me it's a good thing. So I'm not telling everyone to do that, but my intention is a giving when I'm doing my manifestation. Don't get me wrong. I'm like, and I say I am abundant in all areas of my life, and I say that I am worthy of abundance in all areas of my life. Those are things I know that, I am worthy, I am protected, I am the light. All those things are whatever it is that makes you feel good. The things that you want to manifest. That's the power you have. And we mentioned come from a heart space. When I open up, that's what I do. I always connect, and I'm always trying to. I see myself almost trying to raise above me. Is what I try to project myself above. When I start to see colors, then I know that I'm around angels and things. So that's when I know I'm right in the right place. And then I start saying these things, and the energy that I put out is because I want not only success for myself, I want success for everyone.
Exactly.
And that's what I put out for everybody. I want that. And that's what I feel like the more of us that do that, not only intention for ourselves, intention for others. And I feel like the more of us that do that, overall, I feel like the darkness has been over us. I see what we're doing now as light workers. I'm seeing us joining hands across the entire world, whatever shape that might be. And we're the safety net around the world. I don't know why I'm feeling it. I'm getting goosebumps right now, but I feel like we're joining almost like a safety net of light that just went over the top of the world. And I don't know why I'm getting that, but I feel like we're doing this hand in hand so we can bring that darkness has nowhere to hide anymore. We're just elevating it, just eliminating it. And I feel like that's what we're doing. So that's kind of what I feel. I don't know if I'd like to see your thoughts on that, Jay, and then Dennis, and then
no, I agree. And one of the things I wanted to add on to with the I am statement, I did have that. I also had the why me. I didn't ask for this. But what I've realized over the last few weeks, I am is powerful. The next step of that is I know, I acknowledge, I accept it. It's not being cocky. It's not being how do I want to say, rude, ignorant. I just know. And Jason taught me this, that once I accepted it, it started going. And this kind of spurt that's been coming on, it's been coming on a little bit, almost, I guess, around 10 days. But now I know. I'm thankful. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. Those are where I'm at, but it's a knowing. Once you accept that, don't get me wrong, the I ams it's part, because it's true. It's I am worthy. I am here. I want is not a bad thing either. Don't get me wrong. Bless you. Is that the dog again?
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was a dog again.
right.
But
I moved my lips though.
You did. But and again, I don't mean to sound conceited or anything like that. It's just I know. I call up Jason, and I've had these conversations with Dennis and Gypsy. I know. It's what I give you what I've been given, and or what I see or what I feel. It's for you. And when it comes to me, we eventually see it. We do. All of us come to this realization. Dennis, you're an OG on this thing. We're all just catching up to where you were at one point. But that and I mean that respectfully. I do.
And I have to bring you down to my level,
Listen, I'll go wherever your level's at, buddy. I love it. but the energy, like I said, when Dennis, when your energy, it's this standing, it's this proud, but it's so humble. And you said, Angelic, you were spot on. But once you get to the point of these I ams and they are life changing, there is a point where it's the universe. This has been set for you. Once you start realizing it, walking the walk, talking the talk, but then living it. That's when you know, when you just, you accept it. I mean, sure, every once in a while, I still get a, okay, wow, that's new. You know, that's pretty cool. But realize everyone's different. Get at it your own way, as long as you're trying to become the better self. But at some point, the next step is acceptance, a knowing, and you're just living it. It is no longer, at that point, when you're saying, I am one. I am one with the universe. That's the ultimate where we're at. You know, and that was kind of, is again being shown to tell you that. But I have understood the I know. It's humbling. It's not cocky at all. It's actually very, very humbling. I hope you can understand what I mean by that. It sounds off, like, oh yeah, and it's humbling. It really is. I mean, it's like serenity. Perhaps one of you guys can help me out with that.
Tranquility.
Perfect. Take it, Dennis. Take it. That was beautiful. Thank you.
It's I wasn't always this way. As a child, I was easily angered and had a major temper. But as I grew older, like when I went into the orphanage and stuff, I learned to see both sides of the same coin. And once you recognize each side, then that's humbling in itself. You can understand why this person did that, why this person and why the other person did that, and it humbles you. And I go through life knowing that doing something like that and being protected all my life, even though I may have gotten into some scrapes or whatnot, but nothing major, is even more humbling. And then when the 1990 thing came around, it was all over, So
Drop you to your knees, buddy.
words, yeah, words are very powerful. Except for at my age, I forget so much. Mantras are probably one of the best things you can do now, because the words that you speak are that powerful. But when you're having a problem waking up and not knowing who you are or where you come from,
Right.
it's different.
And I just want to mention one other thing. When it comes to I want, okay, let me clarify that a little bit for you. I want to help. I want to serve. You want to be better to help. It's not negative, as long as it's done with the right intent. I mean, some people will agree with that, disagree with that. That's fine. But again,
it's the
don't
same
be
thing
fearful.
with need.
Right, exactly. But I think we're so much greater when we're serving. That's what we're here to do. We're here to serve, whatever that capacity is.
That's
I'm
why
trying. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I want to be healed a little bit more so that I can help longer. Not so my discomfort level. I accepted that years ago. Could care less. But I it's this need of wanting to help and to serve. I just want to be there for it. What more can I do? How else can I help? Goodness.
It's addicting. It's that when you do something for somebody else, that feeling that you get is addicting.
Of
Much more so
selflessness.
than
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we all should strive for.
What do you think, Jixby Mama? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally resonate with all that. I mean, and Jason, back to your seeing us people holding hands. I've seen that very thing multiple times in meditations that I've done of many people holding hands. I've even gone into inner earth and seen that happening too. and it's beautiful. It really is like absolutely amazing. But like both Joe and Dennis were saying, like claiming that, right? Like really claiming and receiving. And that's where like manifestation really turned for me as well too, was not just like manifesting the things that I wanted and, you know, doing my moon ceremonies or whatever, you know, I've got many different things that I do, but really feeling those things. What does it feel like to already be there? What is that feeling? And then to have the gratitude for that feeling. And then it's the alignment, right? So things just as things
and then you're there.
just start happening, you're there, and then you're like, this is the feeling that I felt, you know. And then you've got this. I just recently started.
That was powerful. Thank you that you explained that a little bit better than me. That was powerful. Thank you.
I just started a gratitude journal, and just throughout the day, things that are even just to end my night, writing in the journal of things that I'm grateful for throughout that day. And I just started it, but it already is just, it's life-changing, right? It's just always been in that state of gratitude. And like you guys were saying, your words, right? Like, so I'm just getting over something trying to get at me. I won't even say I am, because that's not what I am. I'm not that. I am healthy. I am strong, and I am free from any disease or sickness.
Something's trying to take a piece of you.
Yeah. And that's where, like Jason, you were saying, like, it's those times, if you are not protecting yourself in these times where you are lower, like I made sure, you know, I was in, thank God for my kids, you know, and they helped me out. My mom helped me out yesterday with my little guy. And, you know, and I was able to stay in bed and do the healing that I need to do. I've got like a ton of supplements and my essential oils, but I made sure I was doing, you know, I was working with my angel guides, and I was, you know, doing all these things to make sure that nothing got in while I was in this lower point, you know, and just making sure that I'm not saying what I don't want to be, you know. And that was a big thing I noticed at my work, when people coming in and saying like, oh, I'm in pain, or I'm this, or I'm not feeling, I'm sick, or I'm this. And I'm like, stop right there and turn that around and stop telling yourself that, because you're calling that into your life. And that's where people are stuck in this loop of like, they can't get out of that loop, because I mean, if you think about your subconscious, that holds 90%, and your conscious is like 10, right? So it's like, how much do we have to get out? You know, that's been a huge thing of unschooling my kids, is that I'm also like, get out of here. I don't want this stuff in my head. And trying to like focus on what kind of stuff do I want to learn? What is my truth? What is, you know, to find my sovereignty, right? Like you were talking about, like, it is it's standing in your truth and your sovereignty, but in a way of like still holding space and having compassion for others. And it's not coming from a like I don't even know the right word for it either, Joe.
It's not selfish. It's
not selfish. It's selfless.
It's humbling. There is a word, we just can't get it, but
I can't figure it out.
It's very selfless. It's someone type it in the chat. I'll look at it later. Help us out, please.
What are we trying to say?
Yeah. But no, beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful.
I agree with you guys. I mean, when you're talking about this information or the things that I have, like, as these things were developing for me, I was at times I was kind of like, hey, I don't know if I really am ready for this. You know what I mean? Some of the things that were just coming to me. And I finally got to the point where I'm like, you know what? Let go of all these fears that you have. Like, just let go of it, because you know what? It's happening to you, and they keep poking at you because you're not paying attention. You're not opening yourself to these things. So, and something finally just told me just to do it. And I finally got to the point where it was on a full moon. And here's a funny story. I have these weird things that happen to me all the time. It was at a full moon. I brought all my tarot cards out and my crystals. We talked about crystals and all these things. I put them outside it was a full moon. I don't remember which full moon it was, but it was one of the big ones at the time, just a couple months back. And I'm sitting outside after a few minutes after my stuff has been out there, and I'm sitting out there and in the grass, and I'm just grounding myself, and I'm thanking God, and I'm thanking all the angels, and I'm telling them, I actually said, I'm ready no matter what happens in this journey. Even if you think I'm afraid, or if you see that I don't care at this point, or I didn't say I don't care. I'm like, I just pushed past that is what I told them. No matter what, I know I'm ready. So don't slow this process down for me. Just go with it. And I'll roll with it. I'll make it. So, and literally after I said that, I opened my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, above my house to my left, it was a full moon. There was a white light, and it went real fast, like zoomed, and I didn't see it. Like it was, as soon as I opened my eyes and looked up, I saw it clear as day out of the left out of my eye, and it was so amazing. And when it came down to it, that was just my way of saying, of my guides were saying, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
We're here for you. We're listening to what you're saying.
Exactly.
The fact that it zoomed off in my sight, actually, that was a huge confirmation. And I've been very lucky when I ask for signs, I get them right away. And I know that's a sign. And this is something, at least for me, it's like, I mean, it was so amazing to know that. And ever since that day, I feel
Ooh,
that I've
your
started
lights
taking.
just,
Yes.
you just went.
Dimmed.
Yeah. Jason.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He took all that energy.
I'm telling you, it was great.
It
That was
just
a good
drained
one.
the whole room.
That was a good one.
So I was thinking, I was feeling is after that happened, like I feel like my journey is picking up speed for me. And the newest thing for me on my ascension is almost being able to hear spirits talk to me. And I told you I had that experience with my mom. I don't hear her audibly, but I can understand the words that she's telling me, and I know it's her. But what happened lately is I'm hearing frequencies change, like somebody's talking to me. And when you speak, you have different frequencies, and I can't understand what it's saying, but I can hear like almost like the Morse code thing in a way, but it fluctuates.
Could I say it's not words? Would you say it's not words?
I don't know what it is. It sounds like it could be some type of audible, or someone
you
is trying to
understand it.
communicate.
You understand it.
I must understand what it, right. I knew it. I know it's some type of message that's coming to me. I may not have understood it when I was hearing it, but I was getting the download for it. And it may make sense. It may come out in cards. It may come out in some other way that I'd notice it. But what I got to the point where I said, I am, let's go. I mean, I'm a fire sign. I'm a double fire sign for rising and for my sun. I'm a double Sag, so I'm very gung ho. I mean, let's make it happen is what I am. And I hit the ground running. That's why I chose the card of the King of Wands for my card, because I feel like it resonates with me the most. And that's when it came down to it. I finally got to that point. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with these baby steps. Just let it happen. Let's move on. And I actually asked them to come along and help me in this. And since then, that's been it. And then when I've told people the same thing is because I opened myself up for that journey. And just getting out of my own way is what I talked to Jay about in my first reading for him. And at first it didn't make sense, but after we kind of spoke a little bit after the fact, and I clarified what the meaning was,
and you figured it out. It out,
and it made sense, And so ever since then, we just have to get out of our way. And I agree with that. We have to be a very the I am and all these other things. It's the words. You're right. The words do have something, but it comes back to what we spoke about earlier. It's the intention. It's the intention. And our intention, if you speak harshly and you have a harsh intention, that's what's going to come. That's what's going to be emitted. If you say something kind and loving, that's what's going to come back to you. And because we're giving our energy out all day freely, we just give it away. That's what keeps the universe going. Honestly, I know that it's the spirits of us. We're the ones that I help.
The ultimate
right
engine.
Why do you think they made artificial suns and all that? Because I feel like our energies help the suns rise. I don't know why I feel this, and I feel like our energies help the moon and all these cycles that we're in. And I feel like that's why the dark is made artificial moon, artificial suns. I feel like it's because it takes our energies away, because we can connect with the real sun, and the artificial ones we don't. And I feel like that's part of why they've done this. Like I said, I keep seeing hourglass. I don't know why I keep getting an hourglass, and they keep flipping it. I mean, they keep flipping it, and that's the visions that I receive. And honestly, lately, even with sun gazing, I try to do that when I can. You know, if I remember before it gets too dark, you know, or when it's still kind of going down where it's not going to burn my eyes to death. But I try to do those things as well, and I feel like I get a lot of downloads. After the fact that I've been staring, all of a sudden, like I almost feel like I kind of go out of my body, as I mentioned before, just staring at it. And I see like the sun, and it looks like there's something that spins around the sun really fast, like almost like it's generating energy or something is what I see. And I also see,
does it seem clockwise to you?
It is clockwise, exactly, is what I see. And then, but I also see spots on the sun that almost, to me, I feel mirrors the moon. And I don't know what I
telling me about that. That was so cool.
I feel like these are things that are created, and I feel like there's like we don't know really what things really are going to look like. I'm hoping we're going to find out soon. I know that it's going to be different than we know now. That's all I do know. And I've seen this beautiful world that we're moving to, or at least I've seen, and I can only see for myself.
Right.
And I'm guessing myself is related to the whole. So those are things that I can kind of communicate with people. And what I've been seeing a lot of, just besides I've had so many rainbow dreams lately, so many. The last one I had, besides the one I told you about, where I went to the rainbow world and I felt like I was re-energized. I looked up just to see, because I kept getting, as I went on that drive, as I mentioned before, and we drove by the cemetery, and there was 2 headstones that were ready to fall over. And I got this flash that says, burying is not good. Don't bury. And then after I got that, I got 9s flashing in me. Ninth dimension is what 9th. So I'm like, shoot, what does that even mean? You know? So I mentioned that, and then somebody said, oh, we should start looking up 9th dimension. So one day I started going through and then just started researching what 9th dimension, you know, what other people's interpretations of 9th dimension are, and just kind of see what was out there and just see what resonated with me. The thing that hit me the most was when I read 9th dimension is the God dimension, and it's the rainbow dimension.
Wow.
And I read that. I'm like, are you kidding me? And it talked about a throne. Either it's the rainbow, like it's the rainbow, or it's a rainbow throne. And I had the dream about President Trump. When I was in the military, he was on a throne. It wasn't a flashy throne, but it was a humongous, like for a giant, like he was a king, but not a flashy one. And the fact that I saw throne and I saw this, I'm like, wow, because all these dreams, all these little pieces that kind of made sense. And I visited that rainbow world. No one else was there. I was the only one there. All the plants, even the skies, the trees were all rainbowed. The grass was rainbow. No plants, no animal. I mean, no animals, no people. I was just walking along, checking this place out. And when I woke up the next day, I was like cleansed. Yeah. I felt cleansed, and I felt like I told my wife, I woke up the next day, and I mentioned to others as well. I'm like, I feel like I can take on the world today. I feel like I've been renewed, like it was a healing place. And I know that there's power to the rainbow. That's why they've inverted it and they've twisted the rainbow, because there's magic in it. You know, the gold at the end of the rainbow, that's what's coming. I'm telling you. And that's not even, that's a legit thing. So my last dreams that I had recently it was pitch black. And I have these dreams sometimes where I'm like in the darkness. I feel like if you've ever seen the show Stranger Things, if you haven't already, so she goes into the, so she goes into this girl, she's got these powers, and the government's been working with her with these powers that she has, and like what all of us probably all have. And they put her in this deprivation tank where she couldn't see anything, couldn't hear anything. So what they do is after she goes into this different world. It's like a black world. There's nothing around, but you can interact with people, whatever it is, but everything else is pitch black until you interact with something, and then it's just illuminated. Well, that's kind of what I feel is what I do sometimes. I'm in this darkness, and this is what this dream was. I was in this blackness, and all of a sudden out of the black, as I'm walking through this, everything is pitch black, like black. And solid, all of a sudden a rainbow comes out of the black. Like this is the wall. This came out of the black and just lit up things. And not only was the rainbow lit up, this happened twice in this dream, twice in the same place. different locations. But when the rainbow hit the ground, or when the rainbow came out of the black, the rainbow wasn't regular. It was a regular rainbow, but it was like encapsulated in this divine golden light that illuminated everything. Like it was like from black to just boom. It was amazing. It was so. I mean, it was very vivid. I mean, and these are the dreams when I get these things. They're so like it happens like if I'm awake. I feel like that's how strong these things are. So it tells me like pay attention. So these rainbow things have happened. I've visited the rainbow world. I feel in the during one of my meditations here like a week or two ago. I started seeing rainbow colors. So it tells me I feel like I'm traveling there. So I mean I don't know if some of you guys like if you meditate, Jay, or do you ever see colors, or do you hear frequencies, or what are some of the things you may experience if you're doing
a lot of the things that I get when I meditate is just calm. Like I go in with these happy thoughts, these joyful things, and it's quite peaceful. It really is. It's quite peaceful. I want to say there's next to zero interaction. It is just solitude. Kind of like your deprivation. I get quiet. I mean, I don't even drive around with a radio on my car. I don't. I drive in silence, I'm comfortable with that silence, but when I go into those meditations, that's what it's like for me. There's an energy, me and Gypsy have kind of talked about this just recently. Okay, do you remember the old time TVs when the channels went off and the screen went shh, and you had what looked like all these little bugs going around and it's lights, flashes. I kind of have seen like that since I was a kid, all these light flashes all over, thousands and thousands of them. And when I look at something dark, I see it more. When I look at something night, it's not so much. But what I'm getting at is where I'm going with this energy was in my meditations, it kind of clears away. But when I close my eyes, they're there. But when I meditate, nothing. Now, when I found out that when I was channeling, these lights go away. And it's almost like the clearing of the veil. And I was telling Gypsy about this. We happened to be in a conversation, and my guides are talking with me, and it was what I mentioned to you. It wasn't even words. It was just all of a sudden, and I'm going, she gets it, okay? I'm like, she's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the guides. I'm like having two conversations. I'm like, she gets it, quit it. And I'm like, I'm really sorry, but those sparkly lights, they kind of just go away, and it really is a clearing, a clarity. Your dream to me of the rainbows is also clarity. Clarity is coming. And I don't want to sound like enlightenment, but without the light, you cannot see. In the darkness, when there's hope, you can see forever. That's the beauty. You can't be stopped either way. And if we realize that, but I just want to bring up those energies. And can I throw a quick plug onto the Ascension Academy, the tarot cards? I've been working with my divine rods. They are divining rods. I call them divine. I was shown to do this. Me and Gypsy had a similar experience, being told how to put them out into the harvest moon and all of that. But what I'm getting at is I have zero. I don't know what tarot cards are. I couldn't tell you what one means. I'll be, and people think I understand it because, oh, well, your spirit. No, I don't get that. But as I was talking to Jason, I want to join this because why not? It's another tool in the wheelhouse, if you will. Maybe it gives me some form of clarity. And I've talked with people about cards, and I go, well, I get this from that. And some go, oh, that's kind of unique perspective. But we're all different. But I just wanted to mention that again, that I'm looking forward to that because it is another form of using these tools, using these gifts. I'm going to put the work in. I'm putting it into me. This can only help me. It can't, it can only benefit me. And I just wanted to mention that because I'm not one for change. I like my life. I don't like to change. And I'm doing divining rods now. I'm going to be doing the tarot. I have zero what to expect. I have no idea, but I'm looking forward to it because they're kind of showing me too. Go ahead. I mean, when I try to do something, I get a red light and a green light. I haven't been able to cut my hair in weeks. Every time I go to cut my hair, it's like, no, don't. Me and my wife are making fun of it, and I tell her I'm just going to start carrying a fan around like I'm Fabio, let my hair just flow in the wind,
All right.
Yeah, but it's odd, and I'm sure it has something to do with this whole spiritual growth. Yeah, but I literally can't cut my hair. But anyway, I just wanted to mention those energies and
The length of your hair is like antennas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spiritually.
Okay.
That's why you grow it long. You get more in tune. That's why it's such a Native American thing.
Okay.
Where they kept their hair long because they were spiritual.
Mm-hmm. I can't wear a hat either. I can't wear a hat.
Yeah, I can't either. Too small. I got a big head.
Yeah. Besides that, but I'm 30 plus years with a hat. Daily, ritually, even when I wore a suit, I put a hat on as soon as work was done. I can't put a hat on my head. It's obviously part of all this that's going on.
Yeah.
I try to explain it to my wife, and she's like, just go to the barber. I'm like, oh, hell no. Go to the barber. Forget it. I cut my own hair to begin with. You want me to go to the barber? No. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. But it's energy of some sort, and still trying to figure it out. I don't have all the answers. Nobody does. But that makes sense to me, and Gypsy helped me out with those things. But that funny thing of getting this information, and it's not, as Jason mentioned, it's really not words. And that's what I was getting talking to Gypsy. And I'm like, she gets this, relax, and she's going, oh, okay. I'm like, no, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to them. And but that's why she was kind of with me when we figured out about the lights and when I channel, and there was no more sparklies, and I never put that together. And if it wasn't for her at that particular moment, it'd be lost. And it's another discovery. That's all I'm getting at. It's something new. That's all.
What Ascension is all discoveries,
mm-hmm.
New things, moving from a 3D world to a 5D world.
Do you experience anything, Dennis? Like if you're getting downloads, do you get is it tones? Do you get any energy feelings?
Oh, I get lots. I get daily tones. I'll get them in my right ear, or I'll get them in my left ear, or I'll get them both. And if I'm thinking it's somebody trying to communicate with me, I'll tell them which ear to do the tones with, and it'll come in that ear.
Oh, that's cool.
I may not understand what it is that they're saying, but they're talking to me, so I'm assuming that at some point down the road, I'm going to know what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation-wise, when I meditate, and I'm not really sure I'm doing it right, but it's always purple swirls. It's always the color purple.
Cool.
It's nothing else. Just purple swirls going back and forth. Once in a while, it may have a little picture in there, but it's mostly swirls. Dreams, I know I dream, but it's usually I don't remember them. And the ones that I do remember, I'll write down because I know they're important.
And there is no right and wrong way to meditate, Dennis. Yeah. There really isn't.
Yeah, I'm finding that out, yeah. I'm seeing all these books and things, and everybody's got a different answer for it. So
everybody's
doing my way. Yeah.
Yeah, here. There's no right and wrong way. When you hit that,
it's just quieting the mind and
exactly
keeping your focus on what's behind those eyelids, and you call a movie screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about you? Just Mama, do you get anything do you get tingles, tones? Like if you're meditating, what do you experience? That's what I'd like to know.
So I do get like ringing in the ears, but lately, for the last probably like 2 months, through the summer actually, when I really started sun gazing, I actually hear singing bowls being played in my ears. And when I first heard it, I was outside just after a session of sun gazing, and I was like, at that point, I had no neighbors. Nobody had lived on either side of me, and I was like, I can hear somebody playing singing bowls. Like, and it's not always like, sometimes it's a lot quieter, and I just faintly hear it. But that's one thing. But my son, who actually is right here, he
I'll keep
I don't
it
like
down.
my kids to be on the interweb, but
I understand totally.
he does toning. He actually comes from a very musical family on his dad's side. They're all exceptional musicians, and he's doing it right now. So yeah, he does this toning, and it's part of his. I mean, he obviously has not been taught Reiki, but he does Reiki as well from watching us, and he does the toning, and he wants to. But yeah, so I'll cover his face.
Right.
But yeah, so I definitely agree with you. When I do sun gazing, I see rainbows, and I've seen like my rainbow body, and I think I now think it was my soulmate's rainbow body that I've seen. And Jason, when you talked about, I'm getting like full on shivers. That's another thing that I get quite a bit. So I always know, like, but when you talked about the darkness and how it was dark, right away, what came to me was that like the Divine Mother, the Creator, is the they talk, sometimes it's called the Dark Mother, because just like your womb, it's dark until that light comes in, right? So, you know, Sophia, Maya, whatever you call the Divine Mother, that it is that darkness, but it's the light coming through, right? So that I thought of that right away when you were talking about it was dark, and then you saw that. Even now I'm just getting like shivers, and it's like, wow, like it's so crazy how, like, you know, until you have these conversations, and then things just all start like making sense and adding up, and you just realize like, whoa, I've had that experience too. Or that's why
we're comfortable with talking about it with each other.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. We know we now can freely and openly, non-judgmentally share.
Yeah. And like Dennis was saying, there is no wrong or right way, because we are all unique. We are all on our own journey, and we find our own way. You know, sometimes I'll hear somebody talk about something and I'll try it, and it just does not work at all. Like, it's just not my thing. And then I find my own way, I find my own thing. And that's why, again, it's so important to like just hold that space for somebody else, right? And just, you can listen to what they're talking about or saying, and you don't have to take that on as your truth, or you can try it. It may not resonate with you, and that's okay, right? It's when you start pushing things and like, I don't ever do good with like being told what to do or how to do something, or you can only do it this way. And which is why the last couple of years has gotten me 2 tickets. But it's just like, I even with like tarot and divination, some people will say like, you have to do it this way, or you have to keep your cards this way, or you have to do this. And it's like, what? Like, do what resonates with you. Do what you're feeling called to do, because that's, again, where you're unique.
That's what resonates with me. That's my tarot.
Yeah, exactly.
And it works perfectly.
I love
than
that.
the other tarot cards, but this is like a beginner for me, to learn it this way first, then I start looking at the other tarots. But so far that one's resonating. You just have to come up with 78 different things to put on the cards.
Right. No, like, I agree with that. There's no right or wrong. I mean, that's what I want people to understand. I mean, there's no gurus. I mean, there's people who things that work for them, and that's all they do is they just speak out what things that work for them. And what I feel, a lot of those that are so-called gurus are probably been taught by another person, taught by another person, taught by another person.
Yeah.
Because everything is
And
very
they were all
repetitive.
gurus.
Regurgitate, regurgitate, regurgitate. That's how we've been taught to do, and that's what we do. And the fact is, like what we were talking about with tarot, even no matter what, it's just a tool. And every person, even though we put out a lesson, or these are things that may resonate with you, some of them may, some of them may not. It's whatever resonates with you. So I want people to know that, like, there's no right or wrong answer. If it comes from you, it's the right answer, that no matter what, because it came from you and it involves you.
Be right
So
back.
it's up to you. Yeah, no worries, man. So it's up to you to make that happen. I mean, that's what it is. It's all about the intention, what we think, what we say, and what we do. And our thoughts lead to our words lead to our intent or our actions. And that's all part of the energy. We start creating the energy the moment we start thinking of something. We put it out there. And then when we start talking about it, and then it gains steam. Then when we put that into play and then action, it gains even more steam. So we're on this train track, and this train is picking up speed. And that's kind of what I wanted. I was sick of just kind of putting along on this journey. And I told them, that's why I told my angels finally, I'm just let it go. And it finally got to the point. And that's what I'm getting at is I want people to know that I know a lot of you, why isn't this happening? I don't get these things, or I have this and I have this. And that's why I want to talk about these things, because a lot of these things, I've had that dream. I had a rainbow dream. I had this happen to me. And the fact of, instead of some people, like for me, even, there's a lot of things like I don't say all the time, because sometimes even to this point, because I don't know if it's going to resonate even with the people closest to me that are open to these things. Even some of these things I don't, or I say things because I still have that thought of being, I don't know, not judged, but the fact of, I don't want someone to look at me and say, hey, you know what, that you make no sense. You are a crazy person, that type of thing. I think that's fear-based for me. And I'm working through that as part of my journey. That's for me, even get out into this atmosphere is huge, because when you go out into the public, what comes with that. It comes good and it comes bad. And there's a lot of things that even, for all of us. And I'm just trying to help as many people as I can in this journey. And what I know that I've been doing, and I know we've all been doing this in our own ways, and there's no right or wrong. Some people like me, for me, I don't have, I used to have this ritual where I would sit by the edge of my bed the first thing in the morning. And first thing I do every day, no matter what, is as soon as I get up, I thank God for giving me another day. That's what I honestly do. Even if I'm half groggy or whatever the situation, I always make it a point to do that. And it takes a few seconds, and that's all it is. And then I used to go from there after I take a shower, do everything. And then I would sit on the edge of my bed, and I would grab a silver bar in each hand, and I would sit there and manifest like the abundance coming to me in my life. And I started doing this as it's not a ritual, but I feel like I caught myself a few times repeating the same mantras over and over again. And I felt like it was too repetitive, and I wasn't using enough of this, and I was using more of this to kind of make sure I get through the same. Because I was almost feel like as I was getting through things, I'd almost stop and say, "Oh, did I miss that? I missed that part. I missed that." And I feel like what I was doing wasn't adequate enough, and I wasn't hitting all the points that I wanted. That was the intellectual side of me. And once I let that go, I just kind of let it flow, and whatever comes to me is what I say. And that's why my affirmations have changed recently. I do the I am the light, I am the love. I always do that, but the I am worthy. Those are things that I am strong. I am confident. I say I'm beautiful. Those are things that I say to myself, and those are things that I'm loved. I love, or I am love. I am forgiving. I am forgiven. Those are things that I know that I am doing and I'm working on, and I pull that into me after I send it out. When I say these things from my heart, I pull that energy back in to say, I want to get this, back. Because like I said, we mentioned it, we give our energy away all day in the little smallest thing, touching your animal, walking outside, coming in contact with someone, even if you don't touch each other, just the interaction, the energy is attached. Your job, everything you touch, your car, everything, you just constantly the energy is being transferred everywhere. And we need to pull that back in. We need to regenerate ourselves. Part of the med bed, I don't know if this is right, it's what I feel, I'm getting download. We have to we're using our life force, our own life force is what this connects to. And it helps us, you know, the deficiencies, it kind of is like a scan. And then what we start doing with our own energy and life force, it kind of starts to work with us by increasing with frequencies and vibrations is what I feel. And it's going to be so intense. Like the stuff, the med bed, as you do, it's working with your DNA to heal these broken structures that I feel that is happening for so long because of the poisonings and all the things that is just, from the moment you're born, you're being destroyed. And we all die.
Yep.
That's not what I'm getting. I'm just saying is they've been speeding this process up purposely. And I actually had these weird thoughts today, even. I'm like, I had this, I don't know why I thought this, because the dark pops in my head, but it's almost like you're mentioning, it's not a cocky or arrogantness. It's the fact of the knowing. I know things. And when I get these things, it's like, okay, so the dark wants to kill us, gets to get rid of us. And they want to create these clones of these people that they've created themselves. And they want them to live as slaves. So they work to kill us as fast as they can. But they use our DNA in order to create their slave units that are below the ground. So, and I feel like that's the reason why, because they can't create, they have to steal. And that's what Gypsy Mama mentioned, only light creates, the darkness can't. And these things, these energies we just give away and all this, we have to take that back. And that's we're our own med bed. And I created a med bed in my own bed, honestly, before with my wife and I's energy. And here's why I mentioned it, because she said we made a med bed together. And we were facing each other. My knee was touching her knee, and I had my hand over the top of her head, and I had my hand over her, and she had her hand touching me. So we were touching in like different spots, but we were facing each other. We were sleeping. But I woke up in the middle of the night, and I could feel like the energy flowing through us. It's like, whoa, you almost feel it. And my wife said she woke up feeling like, she's usually in pain because she has a bad back, retired nurse, multiple level fusion, all that stuff, a lot of pain, all these things. So she's like, I actually woke up and I wasn't in pain. I felt re-energized. And those are things like that. Honestly, at first I was like, yeah, this is quackery, but it's not. And I'm going to honestly say, and I know I've talked a lot, is I just bought a product yesterday or before, but I just got it delivered yesterday. It was anti-aging bed cover for my bed. And I also bought 2 of these Tesla biohealers, and they're just cans. You don't have to do anything with them. But I bought 2, one for me, one for my wife. And literally, we're sitting on the couch. I have mine on the right, on my right to my shoulder, on the table of my couch, and my wife is sitting there to my left, and she moves her can in between us on the couch. And I was watching TV, I wasn't paying attention, and I looked over, I'm like, my whole arm on my side was just warm feeling. It just felt warm. I'm like, did you move anything? And it was, I could feel it. And I've done that twice. It's happened to me where she moved it and I could feel the warmth on me. And last night I got this med bed, or this bed cover for my bed, and it's nano silver, and it plugs in and it grounds you. And I laid on it, and I was laying on my left side when I got into bed. And because first I'm like, I spent a lot of money on these things, and I was like, I hope these are going to be legitimate things that are going to help. That's, so I asked Kristen to pull cards for me, because she pulls for me, I pull for her. So she pulls, she goes, they're going to be very good, especially for your wife, because my wife has the beginning of rheumatoid arthritis. So we got there, and I'm laying on my side, and I almost felt like I was being sucked into the mattress. And my wife was on the right side, and she was, because it removes free radicals and it grounds you, and all the EMF and all this stuff, it doesn't affect you. And on her right side, I'm like, do you feel anything? I just asked her to see what she said. She goes, yeah, I feel like I'm like something is pulling into like pulling away from me into the bed. And I said, that's exactly what I was feeling. So I'm being honest with you. Like the first night, like we did this, I got into bed a little later than my wife. And like 2 nights ago, I got this 2 nights ago, and I got the med bed, or the cover, last night. So 2 nights ago when I was sleeping, she went to bed early before me, and I went to bed, and she usually wakes up the moment I come in. I get into bed, I move. She was out in coma. and I even touched her and she didn't even make a movement. And this bed that I woke up with last night after I put that bed cover on and I put these on the each side of my bed, I'm going to tell you, this is the first time, my wife too, I feel mentally clear. I feel like this is the first time I can honestly say wholeheartedly that I feel like my spirit, my mind, and my body are all in alignment at one time in my entire life.
Nice.
Amazing.
And my wife said the same thing. My wife said the same. She's like, I feel more calm today. She woke up. I'm not achy today.
Be right back.
And no problem. So I mean, I'm just saying like these alternative things that people would say are quackery and don't. Same thing with ACENT Nutrition. When I give my approval to something, I even put it out in the chats. I don't put things out that I'm not a bullshitter. I don't bullshit people. If I'm going to put something out, it's because I wholeheartedly had a good experience from it and it's worked for me and I can speak highly of it. And that DHA, the algae for me, same thing. It helps calm my mind down. I'm a very racy thought person. I'm sure you guys all in this chat are, because you learned a lot of things and a lot of things that are going on. For sure, it's racing thoughts. And we're taught to that. Well, that's why information is so fast, because when we don't get it right away, what do? We complain. Well, shit, I still haven't received my email. Okay, I sent it 20 minutes ago. Well, I didn't get it yet. Stuff like that, because we want instant gratification. That's what we've been trained to do, instant gratification. And sometimes those things, it's part of the patience. We have to learn these things. So as a patient journey, people need to realize like they want instant gratification. Like, well, Soldier of Light gets these, and Gypsy Mama gets that, and Jay Rocco gets this, and Kristen can pull cards and gets these, and Jason gets these. These people that all these beautiful souls that are watching these things, we're just experiencing what we experience, and we're just presenting that to the group. That doesn't mean every person is going to have something different, or you might have some similar experiences. We just want to talk about these things. So to say you're not alone, and these things are going to continue to happen, and actually going to ramp up even more. So to not be afraid of it, not be afraid, because you'll have people you can talk to, bounce things off of, whatever it is the people you're in the chats. I encourage the chat members, get a hold of each other, text, call, whatever. I mean, if you need to, get a hold of these people and talk to them, because I don't want you to feel alone. I see a lot of people say, well, my spouse isn't awake, or this person isn't awake, and I have a hard time talking. That's what the purpose of this forum is for.
I put my email in the chats at Kristen's all the time, and a lot of people have taken me up, and it usually involves and I tell them, I can't do this via email. I have to hear your voice, and it generally within the first 10 minutes it's tears, and it's both of us most likely, and they finally have someone they can share, they can. And I tell them up front, I have nothing to gain from you. I will never hurt you. I will never make a decision for you. That is not my path. My path is to be there, whatever I'm needed for. And sometimes it is just a shoulder to cry on, someone to laugh with, someone to talk to because they have no one. But, truly, most of the people I've talked to have gifts. They have the gifts. And I think it's part of it that they just don't understand. And they're reaching out, it's not just them reaching out. It's their soul, their heart on reach out. And whether it's me or someone else, if you feel like that, do it. Yeah, I mean, it's sure. I jokingly with one of the people that I had met through this, she reached out and contacted me, and we make a joke about it of creepy internet guy. Like, hi, it's creepy internet guy. How are you? We make light of it. Hey, first long time listener, first time caller, creepy internet guy. But again, I'm just saying, you'll know when to trust and when not to.
Yeah.
You will. You'll feel the energy. Realize if someone wants something from you, it's wrong. Just realize that. If someone wants something from you or of you, it's wrong. It's done right there. But you do kind of have to take a little leap of faith, but that faith is in you. It's not necessarily in someone else. Put it this way, you're not broken. Okay, you're not broken. You just need someone to talk to 99% of the time. That's it. But again, this constant sharing, this growing with everyone. If you resonate with someone in the chat, you feel like talking with them, talk with them. Exchange email for a while, whatever you want to do. I mean, you have to be careful. You have to be on guard. I understand that. But when people reach out to me, it's, hey, I have to talk with you. That's just me. You can end this conversation at any point, the whole bit. But I'm what you tell me stays. It's I've always been that way. Trust, love. There's no such. What's the old saying? Oh, I can't remember it, but yeah, there's
you're
no.
old.
Yeah,
So it's an
there's
old
some.
thing.
Right. It's just there's you can. It's hard to trust people. That's just it. In this day and age,
Yeah.
you can't trust people, and sometimes there's a leap of faith. But it's so refreshing to meet someone with integrity, with honor, with love. Every one of us at this here right now, we've all had our first interactions, and those are immediate. We can feel it, we can sense it. Um, it's there. There is a connection, and you'll know it. But again, you always keep your guard up. If someone wants something from you, it's bad. Knock it right there. No one should want anything from you. Plain and simple. But anyway,
And you should
Good.
feel that right away too. At least
Right.
I do.
You do. You do.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I
I
look
had
at
to
people.
trust my intuition. First time I talked to Joe, I was like, I don't know, like, again, like you said, I'm like, who is this guy? I don't know. Right?
He's a creepy guy.
Same here.
Creepy
Same here, I'm like-
internet guy.
He called me and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to answer this phone.
Yeah.
I should have texted him. That was the first thing, is to text him.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, you know what? I just need to hear from this guy. And I'm very thankful that I took the courage to myself to answer the phone, because once I did that, I opened a beautiful relationship with him. And it's been an amazing thing from the beginning. So I was the same thing, just that fear of releasing that, because
Mhm.
I don't know you. What do you need from me? And
Right.
that's we've been taught that. What do you need from me? What do you need?
Yeah.
And instead of just saying, hey, hello, I just want to hear your voice. I want to hear
talk.
what you're about.
Right.
Right. We forgot to do that stuff. And that's the
can-
thing that
Get so much
It's
from a
ama-
person.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm totally thankful that you were that way and you kind of brought that old school mentality back.
Mhm.
I just see the old rotary phone, and wait for that thing.
That's
what I- right,
No, I
the
love
long
it. That's
cord.
great.
The 400-foot cord that you used to, put and shut your doors. Exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
That happened with Ben too. It was like, he's like, do you want to talk? And he actually did the like video call. And I was like, oh my, I was like, I don't know if I want to talk to this person, like from Inspired Action, Ben talked. Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it was like one of the best conversations we had. And I felt like I was talking to like, somebody I'd have thousands of
Right.
conversations with.
And that's one of the better ways to do it, through something like that. I'm old school. I'm like the phone number. I now have Instagram, so it's less creepy internet guy if I have to be. But I mean, if someone wants to meet like that, that is a wonderful way to do it. It really is.
I'm older school. I do the smoke signals in the background.
Mhm.
I love it.
But good. I'm sorry, Gypsy. Good. Tell us about your Ben Thompson.
Oh no, that was it. Like it was just
Okay.
I remember telling him, I think during that conversation, I was like, I can't even believe I answered this like FaceTime or whatever it's called, like call. I was like, I never would have done that. But it was my intuition, right? It was trust. And the same thing with you, Joe. It was my intuition of like, no, I sat with it for a second and had to ask myself. And it was a yes, right? So it was trusting, because we are like programmed to, and for good reasons,
Yes, very much so. Very much
sure.
so.
But it's also like realizing that we do need to open up to each other, because this is how we find our family.
Right.
Right.
100%.
It's how you raise your vibration.
Yeah.
Sure. I know for me, for a fact, is I've always been a higher vibration. I know I have than others around me, but I also feel like when I put on the work lately, like my vibrational levels gone up, and I feel like the more I've connected with more of the more like-minded people and more of the same energetically connected people, I feel like then my stuff started amplifying as well. Besides asking for that, I feel like that's how part of the journey was. Me asking is how I end up here, is what I feel the most of. And I feel like that's the reason why is we've all in our own way have gone through our journey, and that's the reason why we're together at this point. No matter what words you said, what's happened in your life, there's a reason why the energies have attracted. It's like the magnet. We're magnetizing each other, and the more we magnetize, the more we spread that love across the globe in order to illuminate the darkness. And that's exactly what we're doing, is find those like-minded people. You're not alone, and these things aren't crazy. I told Jay this, and I mentioned this before in our roundtables. There's a lot of things that I even mentioned this earlier in myself. There's some things that I still kind of keep to myself because I'm still growing. But, you know, after I say them to somebody, I'll usually end up saying it to somebody that I think may resonate with a little bit more or understand. Then it makes me like, okay, what was the big deal about that?
Exactly.
After the fact, you know what I mean?
Right.
I hype myself up.
Sorry. It's those limiting
No.
beliefs, right? We have to deprogram those limiting beliefs, and like that, you know, that somebody's going to think we're weird, or that, you know, because the more we open up, we find our people, and we find.
But what if we are weird?
We are weird. I
Right.
love
We are
weird.
weird. We are weird.
You're divinely weird.
I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to be weird. Who wants to be normal?
I'm just that creepy internet guy senior, you know.
That is my tag. Okay, I'm just saying.
Right?
Well, Dennis,
You're junior though.
Yeah,
I am junior.
you look a
I
lot
really
like
am.
one of my uncles, Dennis. So, from back home in New Mexico. So it's actually been such a blessing to have this, because I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm talking to my uncle right now. You look so much like him.
Really?
Yeah.
And
I used to live in Albuquerque.
That's where I was born.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived there for a while.
Uh-oh. I'm getting
I
a
moved
"you
around.
are the father" moment. You
You
are
Oh
the
no!
father.
It wasn't me. I
What was
did
his
not
name?
do it.
Maury Povich? I can't remember.
More
I just
Povich.
remember that. You are the father.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And like I was mentioning too with like Jay, same thing. It's like it was like a connection. Once I let that go, that fear, instantaneous connection. Like the stuff he was saying is stuff that I think, stuff that I was saying. I'm like, dude, you're speaking truth to me. And I'm a huge. That's one thing for me is that's in my DNA and my soul. I know
Integrity.
it is.
Integrity too with you.
I don't know what it is. I cannot stand not integral people. I just can't. And I always told my kids, there's two things I can't stand in this world: liars and thieves, because I can't trust you. And those things go in together. I mean, it's the same thing. Lying to me is like stealing from me, because you're being deceitful and
Right.
you're being dark, and I don't want that, you know. And I used to tell them these things, and they used to say, whatever, Dad, you know, whatever, you know, you don't make any sense. You don't know shit, you know. So basic teenage stuff, you know. But my kids, as they got older now, my kids are. It's funny. They've turned out differently than I thought they were going to turn out. You know, we have these thoughts of how we think our children are going to be, and totally wasn't that way. And you know, I have one that's a hippie, you know, and makes her own soaps, and she does really good at this stuff. They're actually opening a shop. Her fiance makes pottery, so they're opening the shop in California, where they have this little shop that they are part of, and they put their stuff in the shop. But they just purchased their own area to build like the shop and have a store. They can do all these alternative products and things. So I think that's amazing. You know, and same thing. The funny thing is, I found out from my daughter, my ex-wife, actually, she is in Delaware. The city of Delaware has actually opened her store for these alternative things that, like the farmer's market, the alternative oils and the crystals. So they actually are helping her. She actually has a storefront as well that they actually helped her get it started, because they wanted that to happen. So that tells me that's crazy. Like people around me, that's what they're doing. And I haven't talked to my ex-wife in forever. And the fact that I hear that that's her journey, that's pretty crazy. You know, I mean, I feel like the connections are so overwhelming. You know, and literally it's like for I want to tell you how crazy these things. The 144, I see that stuff 4 or 5 times a day, and I have for months. And it's always, and I always show my wife too. I'm like, look, this happened to look at my phone or whatever, or something on TV, 144 will pop up, and I see it.
144 right now.
So that's what I'm saying. It's exactly. See, right on cue. Do you like that? I'm telling you, man. And I see that stuff, and you can't write that stuff. Literally, like I wasn't even paying attention to the time when I brought this up. So I see these things, and they pop up, and that tells me like that's more of my angels connecting with me. And I know that the 144, there's a message to me specifically with that, or I wouldn't keep seeing it. And the rainbows, and I feel like the 144 plays into the rainbows, and I don't know why I feel. I just feel that. I don't know how many there will be. I'm getting feedback, so I don't know how many of there will be with that 144. If it's thousands, millions, whatever, but I just know that number is a huge significance, and it stands out to me. And I see 111, 1111 at least twice a day. So I'm seeing all these repetitive numbers, and they pop up. So I know that's when I don't ask for them, but I notice them. And what I got a message was not just start looking for patterns. Notice patterns. That's all it was. No matter what the pattern is, we mentioned this on our last roundtable. It may not be numbers. It may be things come in threes, or you notice colors, or whatever it is that you know that things are just very pattern-like. That is your guide's way of saying, connecting some way to say, hey, you've noticed that. Just to notice. That's all it is for you to notice. And you could have been what you were. And so what I want people to do, if you do get these things, think about what you were thinking about right prior to that. If you can, if you say, oh man, I just saw 444 or whatever, or 333, whatever it is that you were just thinking about, look, if you try to go back to that, because that is your guides are giving you answers.
They're giving you a message or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So they speak through the numbers, as we talked about, the gematria and all these things. There's something to that. And the gematria, to come back to that, funny thing, I don't remember what I put in. I was something. It was Chicago Bears the other night for football. I don't know why. I'm like, someone told me, I get these messages sometimes to just check these things out. So I put in Chicago Bears 2022 in gematria. You want to hear? I mean, it didn't make sense at the time, but I was scrolling through. You want to know what came up? 9th dimension. Like literally.
Like
and I was thinking,
you just said about 9th dimension earlier, this is the same?
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
So these things that I can correlate with these things, I just get a random Chicago Bears 2022. What does it have to do with the 9th dimension?
0.
But as the numbers work out, I saw 9th dimension. I told my wife, I'm like, she's sitting next to me like, are you kidding me right now? I was like, my guides are showing off now is what they were doing. And it's just amazing. Like, these things that I'm getting at is they want me to relay the message is start to try to pay attention more, try to be more present, because what that means is paying attention to the synchronicities or the little patterns, whatever it is because you're present. You're present. And that's what they want you to be present in the moment. And you'll notice the immediate things, even a picture. You look at a picture, don't look at the immediate thing, look at the things around it too. That's what we focus on, the immediate thing right here in front of us. They want you to look at the whole, but be present. That's what I feel is you'll see the whole as a better dimension. You'll pick up all these little things. And that's what I've been noticing lately as a different perspective of things. I'm like, wow. Like I was starting to call stuff off for the NFL games because of numbers that just came to me all of a sudden. Says, start looking at these numbers. And I was calling plays, and this not going to score another point in this game. Those are things I'm figuring out because Spirit's telling me. And that maybe the oracle part of my being, I feel, is because I'm getting that and I'm able to communicate that as the oracle is what I feel. And that's why I'm telling people when this communication things, pay attention. Like if you can, be present, present. And if you notice it from a perspective, it's not just so narrow, like the blinders, like a horse, like a race horse. Pull those blinders away for a minute and just kind of take a gander at what's in front of you. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's
from
all
that
connected.
point on. You'll expand, right? And then you'll start to pick these things. And it will be so second nature. It'll start to pick up. And I look at things different now. Like everything I look at is different. I don't watch a movie the same. I mean, I watch TV and stuff like that once in a while just to kind of take my mind off of things. And I don't watch the stuff that I used to. I don't watch the dark. I used to be a horror movie buff and loved all the dark stuff. And that was because that's where we were led to. And I don't anymore. I like the things that I don't have to use much thought of. I think they're comedy, they're dumb, but it kind of relieves me for a minute. And I do that same thing with the football games. I know it's rigged. I know that, but I watch it from a coach's perspective. I don't watch it like fans do. I watch the movement. I watch the players because I coach it and I teach it. So I want these things. That's what I look at it. So it brings me some relief of the spirit and all the crazy things that I get all the time. So what I mean is I start looking at that.
Wow, that was a big one, Dennis.
I don't look at it that way. So I want people to realize that too. You'll start to develop these things, and once you step back from that, you'll never want to look at it the same way that you did before. And I said it comes with a lot of not a darkness, but it comes with a lot of responsibility. These things that we're learning, and
Right.
that's the word I want to use, is because this things that we're learning, that we're developing, is we could use them for not good reasons, or we can use them for good. So we have a lot of responsibility that these are gifts we're given, and not to.
Can I mention on that?
Them. Sure, absolutely.
I was shown early on when this all started happening, if we abuse these gifts, they will be taken. If we abuse them. And as Dennis mentioned, the addiction of giving, it's addicting. But I don't think we'll be able to abuse these things for long at all. I really don't. It's just one of those things that it wasn't a threat. I mean, it literally is a gift. And it's no different than you're telling your son the difference between what's right and what's wrong. Do what's right. These aren't for yourself at all. They are not. And I mean, you guys have internet channels, okay? Or two of you, I'm sorry. And Dennis, you had a pretty big following on Facebook, if I remember right. You had mentioned at one point.
I have a large following on Facebook.
Okay.
That started in 2010, but yeah.
And these are things. I mean, great responsibility. I'm just saying, I don't have that within me. So you guys knowing it, the people look to you. People come to you, and it's beautiful. I mean, I would trust everyone at this table, everyone completely. I would. I'm just saying that whole thing about we have to be selfless instead of full of self. Period. These are great responsibilities. I'm sorry, they're divine. They are divine gifts. We're connecting. Do you want to take the chance of rolling the dice and maybe there's nothing to all this God and bad stuff? No thanks. No thanks. I'm good. I want to stay on the right side. And it's not out of fear. I'm drawn to it. I'm drawn to it. I'm part of it. That's all I just wanted to. Anyone else want to jump on that? I'm sorry.
I'm sure Gypsy Mama has some beautiful things to say.
That was so beautiful. Like it's so true.
Flowing hair. Remember my fan with the flowing hair. Thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate that.
I stopped. I mean, I honestly was letting my hair grow for a while. I mean, I hate it because I'm ex-military and retired military, and so I stopped. I finally said, I got to cut my hair. It just was so bad. So I'm letting my beard grow. So for a while, from here it goes to here. My antennas.
Yeah, I now only cut my hair when I need to release. When I need.
Is that you, Dennis?
Yes, that's how long my hair was.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Awesome.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It was going down to here.
I cannot believe how much you look like my uncle. It's so crazy.
It wasn't me.
Maury Bowman.
And you want to hear the funny thing? Jay, he actually reminds me of my uncle Chuck, who passed away, and my mom's brother. I mean, my mom's uncle. I'm sorry, my grandma's brother, and we call him Uncle Chuck. And he reminded me of him. Honestly, like I was looking at him, like, So it's funny, like you put somebody's face, you look at it for a while, you can kind of like your mind wants to make sense of that person, and correlate it with something that you're familiar with. So
You want to hear the
that's what,
synchronicity?
I mean, we're quantum computers.
My brother's name is
So-
Chuck.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That that's how this all
No
ties
coincidences,
in.
man.
No
No
coincidences.
coincidences. Yep.
Dude, that
Yeah.
is
It never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah.
Well,
I
the-
haven't
what do you
spoke about this openly yet, but the first time that Jay and I spoke, or Joe, sorry, I'm reading your
Doesn't
name on the
matter.
thing. He had me in tears. I hope this is okay to share. I won't go
No,
too
go
in
right
depth
ahead.
about what we spoke about. But he had me in
Don't care.
tears because I felt like my grandpa Joe, which, and again, another, like, you can't make this up. I felt his spirit so strong, like even now, I feel like I'm gonna cry because it's beautiful. And I mean, the conversations I've had with Joe they've been such a blessing to me, and it is something that I don't have from my. Sorry, now I'm like,
It's okay.
now I am
I'm
full
not
blown.
going to cry.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm already crying. But
Thanks,
they're
Dad.
these are conversations I haven't been able to have with my grandpa, and yet it's like I feel his spirit coming through Joe, and it's beautiful, right? I just think of like what would I have been missing out if I didn't take that step and say yes, let's chat, and trust my intuition there. I would be missing out on this, and and now seeing Dennis, it's like, oh God, you look like my uncle, and it's like,
I'm on.
I mean,
Thank
and
you.
Jason, we've had many talks about, we've definitely have like Atlantis, Lumeria. I'm like, we've been there together.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Were
And
you
I feel
gonna-
like we were doing a lot of things. I feel like you were another oracle, is what I feel is what you were doing at the time with me. So, and I feel like same thing is, I feel like a lot of us are, and I feel like that's either we had some type of we were taken out. I feel like maybe in multiple lives at similar times, a lot of us,
I
and a
think we were
different
hunted.
journey. And that's exactly right. I feel like that the reason why a lot of us are waking up, some faster than others, there's a reason why some of us ascend a little faster than others in certain areas, because it's to help balance out the overall collective, because we can't have
Agreed.
a bunch of us up here and being superheroes and the rest of us way down here. So our job is as we ascend, we pull somebody with us. And that's kind of how it works. And I feel like they ascend, if we're down, they pull us up. And I feel like as a collective, as we move up in this journey, that we're going to have some amazing, we're going to have some amazing experiences together. And we're a fragment of the divine. We all have it in us, and that's the honest story. I mean, Jesus Christ, I mean, not to say I'm not anything, I love Jesus, but he was a man like we were, and that's a true story. That's why when he says, Father, they don't understand, or forgive them, they don't understand, they don't know, or forgive them, they don't know what they do, because that's true. I mean, we're being indoctrinated in things, and they don't know, like, we have these powers to be able to help heal and help heal ourselves, heal others, heal plants. Those are things that Jesus did. Speak. He was a teacher. He spoke.
Mhm.
He's one of the greatest spiritual teachers. He's an ascended master. He's one that I channel all the time. And I know this for a fact, because when I was going through my ancestor deck, I asked one time, who am I channeling the most when I'm using my ancestor and oracle deck? And the Jesus Christ card fell out of the deck with the dove on it. And I was like, okay, that's what I needed to know. So, and from that point,
one.
so did I. So I know that he's telling me that you're doing exactly. So part of Jesus's job was teaching others to take power for themselves, enlighten themselves, work on themselves, give to others. That's exactly what God wanted us to do, to love one another, to be together, to help each other. And those are things like in a giving. This comes back to the beginning of our conversation, being from a giving place. You can't give if you're not ready to give your fullest. And I know we've been crushed in the past. We've been hurt. I know I can say that. But since I've opened myself up, like we've talked about, taking that leap of faith to say, I'm opening my heart to a stranger. I don't know. But we open up, and it's been a good thing. And we're learning that we need to do that more. And that's what I feel like we're going back to the roots, and the roots of just everything, just the grand tree of life, the roots, everything that's here. I mean, we are rooted. That's why they tell us to ground, to root, because we help. Our roots are in this earth and the vibrational level. I feel like all of us around the earth, our energies connect through the earth with our feet. We pull it through our head and through our feet and through our heart. But I feel like our energies connect that way through the whole globe. So I feel like that's what keeps us somewhat at a balance. I know that the dark works extra overtime to flip things. I keep seeing the flip. And that's what we're here. We're here to stop it and put the brake on it and say, there's no more flipping this thing. We're going to flip it the way it needs to be. And that's how it's going to be. And
everybody brings something.
What's that?
Everybody brings something to the tribe.
Absolutely. That's a soul tribe thing. That's a family. It's a family thing.
Whether
That's what
it's
I'm
teaching or wisdom or humor or both, everybody brings a little something.
Exactly. I agree with that. Even if you think I'm just I just watch the channel. I just watch these chats. Doesn't matter. If you don't want to step out or talk, that's fine. You just watching. Yeah. Being part of the collective energy raises your energy. Just being a part of the group and knowing you're welcome.
Eventually,
right. And knowing you're welcome. That's the big thing. Knowing you're welcome. So that's why, we're at the 2-hour mark right now. So I know it's been a long show and I appreciate everybody coming on. I don't want to keep you guys. I know it's getting late. I need to eat dinner too. So, and I know the little ones are like asking Mama Bear what's going on. So, but I just want to say thank you guys. It's been an amazing show. Like I said, I'm trying to do this every week. Have our 3 and then a new guest come on every week just to kind of balance it out and bring something new to the table as well. So I just want to say before we go, any parting words? I'll start with you, Gypsy Mama, because I know that you got to get going pretty soon. So
this was just exactly what I needed. Like it just, it boosted. I feel like it just let go of all that was like, trying to get in. It's all gone now. Like I'm feeling amazing. So I thank you guys so much. This was exactly what I needed.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for tell your little ones we said hello and we're sending you guys light and love. Okay.
I will. Yes. Thank you.
How about you, Dennis? Anything you want to say before we go?
No words of wisdom this week. No, but I enjoyed this a whole lot. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Mr. Joe?
Hey, just follow your heart. Do what's right. Make a smile. Help someone. Flow. Whatever you can do. Let the energy flow. Be the person you want to be. Be the person you would want to deal with you. That's what I'm saying. Be a better you. Love you guys. Thank you. It's always an honor to do these. And Gypsy, thank you. It's wonderful to. I know we speak, but it's great to be on the video with you too. And
I love the energy. Yeah, the energy is amazing.
Jason, you're awesome. I love you guys, and thank you, chat.
Appreciate it.
I don't get awesome.
Right. What's that?
What? You're beautiful. I
don't get office.
You got beautiful.
I don't get awesome.
You want awesome or beautiful? Flowing hair. Remember flowing hair? Beautiful. I love you, buddy. I love you.
All right.
I do.
No, I just want to say to everybody, thank you for tuning in. It's been an amazing journey with you guys. We're going to keep doing this. Keep bringing some things that may sound familiar and bring some new things as we, experience these things. That's what this is for. It's just to open up the conversation for people. And I just want to leave you guys is, once again, the power is in you. There's no one else but you. Your power lies within you. Take your energy back. Live from your heart space. Get out of your way with your mind. These things that are coming are going to come if you are open and willing with an open heart. These things will come to you. They won't be as hectic on you when you experience them if you are open with an open mind and heart that you want to experience these things in your journey. And it's necessary for us to do this. So this isn't an easy journey, and this is things that we're defeating a darkness that's always existed. And this is something we're here for this reason. This is our last incarnation, I feel, is for at least for many of us, if not, if you're not a young soul. And I feel like this is our time to get it right for many others. And that's what we're doing. So when we ascend, all the souls that come after us, they can live in a beautiful world of peace and love and abundance for all, and not slavery and despair and fear. We need to let that go, as Jason and Kristen say on their show as well. and a lot of the people who are speaking beautiful things, listen, I mean, pick up what you feel resonates with you. But the thing that's consistent is starts here. Starts here. You can only heal you. That's all you need to worry about. And everyone else around you, you will attract like-minded people as you're finding your soul tribe, and whatever you want to call them, family, soul tribe, friends, whatever resonates with you. That's what it is. And there's no right or wrong way. You know, whatever feels good, even taking a minute to close your eyes. You don't have to even do it. Just close your eyes and breathe. You don't have to think about things. That's something that's simple. I mean, but what you're doing is connecting from a different, instead of your intellectual, you're connecting with spirit by just closing your eyes and breathing and trying to quiet your mind. You don't have to say anything, just quiet your mind if you can. Slowing your breathing down brings your energy level to the point where you're going to bring in your frequency is going to equalize itself, and then you can start to raise it as you go. So I just want people to know that. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do things. You're all on this journey. Each person's going to have their own individual experiences, and be open to those with an open heart. And I want to say I love you guys all once again. And thank you all for coming, and sending you guys all light and love. And once again, we'll do it next week. Okay. You three gentlemen, and we'll bring somebody else on next week. Okay. So thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Soldier of Light out.
You, my friend.